I've been using the MX Master 4 for about the last 3 months or so, and this mouse is pretty sick. It's the first ergonomic mouse that I've ever used, and it's solved a lot of problems, and it's also made things a lot more convenient for my workflow and my use case, some things which I didn't even realize until it was happening. But just like with anything else, it's not without its drawbacks. One of the best things about this mouse is the horizontal scroll wheel. And look, I know what you're about to say. Well, duh, that's the main point of a mouse like this. And you'd be right, but it has made my workflow so much smoother. Take video editing for example. With my old mouse, I had set the timeline to scroll left and right with the wheel, as that was the most common scroll action I needed. But when I had to actually scroll up and down between tracks, I either had to use keyboard shortcuts and scroll, or manually use the on-screen scroll bars. Now with the horizontal scroll, I can zip through the timeline a lot faster. Even in my Notion databases, I do use board views most often, and now it's a lot easier to scroll left and right. And for any of you Excel aficionados out there with over 100 columns, this thing's going to be your best friend. The clicks on the mouse are all still nice and silent, and they still feel snappy as ever, and so do all the rest of the buttons on the body. I haven't felt or experienced any issues there like I did with the squeaking button on the G502. As for button mapping, I kept it pretty simple with assigning back and forward to the side buttons, and I set the gesture controls to volume up and down by swiping the mouse left and right, and swiping up for exploded view and down for desktop view. Mapping is all done through software that I'll cover in a moment. Okay, now let's talk about battery life because it's seriously impressive with this mouse. So when I first got it out of the box, it was November 15th, and at that time it was at 55%. I didn't charge it or anything, just started using it straight away. It lasted all the way through till February 3rd until it reached 0%, which is basically 2.5 months, and that is solid. I popped it on charge overnight. So if I'm being honest, I've got no idea how long it took to charge. I don't think it will take that long. And since then, it's now sitting at 85%. And to me, that's absolutely mind-blowing because I'm used to having mice like the G502X, which you need to recharge every few days. Speaking of which, the G502 doesn't have Bluetooth, and it was a massive pain every time that I had to take the receiver out of my PC to plug it into my MacBook when I wanted to use that mouse. So the MX Master 4 having Bluetooth is a massive win because it meant I could plug the USB-C receiver into the Mac and connect via Bluetooth to my PC, which was the initial plan at least. And honestly, that receiver has been sitting in my drawer ever since I got it because I've connected to both devices with Bluetooth with zero lag. I figured that I'd need the receiver for Mac for better latency and scrolling functions, especially because of how website scrolling is super fine on Mac OS, like line by line at first and then it just zooms off. But the receiver hasn't made a difference to that like I thought it would. Enabling smooth scrolling in Logi Options Plus has improved scrolling, but it is still noticeable, and that's an issue with OS X with any of the third-party mouses that I've tested. But yeah, having Bluetooth has made my workflow a lot easier as it is split between both PC and Mac. Now, one thing I really like is the design. I had no idea how much hand cramping relief I have now because of that arch design of the mouse, which sits perfectly on the inside of my hand. And for reference, I've got medium-sized hands, I guess. I used to end up with cramps after long sessions while working or gaming with the G502, depending on the grip style that I was using, but I haven't had that problem with the MX4. In fact, when I jump back onto the G502 or the Superlight 2 for gaming sessions, the lack of that full hand support is noticeable, and what was a non-issue before just feels pretty weird now, like as if there's a phantom ghost feeling in the arch of my hand. Alright, now onto a few things that I think are worth talking about, which are the MagSafe scroll wheel and the accompanying Logi Options Plus software that drives the mouse. While you absolutely do not need the software to get you going, you do need it to set up the action ring shortcuts, which I'll come back to in a bit. You'll need it to adjust your scrolling, your DPI sensitivities, your button mapping, the MagSpeed scroll wheel, and if you want to make use of the flow feature that lets you jump your mouse from one device to the other in case your workflow consists of, actively using two different devices at once. But one of the things that I absolutely do not like, coming from being a long-time user of Logitech G mice, the MX Master 4 does not have onboard memory like a lot of their G mice do. So every adjustment you make to your mouse through Logi Options Plus happens locally on your device, and it doesn't write memory to the mouse. This means that if you don't install or have the software running, half the features of the mouse will not work or they will reset to its default settings. This is a massive oversight in my opinion from a company that makes mice with onboard memory for a device like this, which, by the way, cross-device usage is a marketing point with this mouse. So this all means that you need to replicate all of your options on all devices if you want cohesive interactivity. Anyway, moving on, the MagSpeed scroll wheel is pretty handy. It basically swaps between ratcheting and free spinning modes automatically depending on how forcefully you scroll, the sensitivity of which you can adjust. And it's something that was another selling point for me personally because I often used to hit the ratchet button on the G502 to scroll slow and then fast as I was browsing or working. This feature does work well, but it does take some adjusting in the software to get it to your preferred sweet spot. One other thing is the skates. They are basic stock PTFE skates and they are completely scratched up, but that's only because I use it on my bare desk without a desk pad or a mouse pad or anything. So that's completely on me. And yes, feel free to roast me about that in the comments. Alright, now let's not forget about the main attraction and the biggest upgrade from the MX Master 3, the action ring. Man, I was so excited about this feature. It felt crazy. The haptic feedback, the way that the button worked and responded. I honestly at first thought that it could replace the Stream Deck because I could map half of what I used the Stream Deck for to the action ring on the mouse. But after using it for a while, I have to say, it's kind of a gimmick. Look, don't get me wrong, I do think that it has its uses. I still load up regular websites and dashboards I visit every day for business all through the mouse. But like, alright, you can install preset actions by application on the Logi Options Plus software. So take DaVinci Resolve for example. I remapped 6 actions to the ring with what I commonly use while editing on my timeline, but every time I click the action button, there is a slight delay to load the ring on screen. Then you need to move the mouse to the direction of the shortcut you want and click it. Well, in the time that it takes to navigate the ring, I could complete that same action with keyboard shortcuts or Stream Deck buttons twice over. This is why something like the Stream Deck still comes in use because I just click on things with the mouse in my right hand and press action buttons on the Stream Deck with my left, and it's all just quicker. Another thing I don't like, which is likely not going to bother a lot of you looking at productivity mice, is the weight. Coming from the G502, it is noticeable, let alone after an extended gaming session with the Superlight 2, the MX4 feels like you're pushing a brick. Over time, I've come to appreciate lighter mice not because it's trendy among gamers or anything, but it honestly does play a big role in ergonomics and strain. Look, you kind of expect the weight for a mouse with such a big battery, but I just think it's still too heavy for what it is. For a lot of people though, weight does translate to a premium feel. So again, it's personal preference. So after 3 months, I can honestly say that I do recommend this mouse, but only for the specific users that it's intended for. Like productivity, office, editing work, you don't need to look any further. The ergonomic design alone, like the way your hand just rests comfortably on this mouse, is enough of a reason for me to recommend it. But I know that's not enough to justify $120 US. So I'll say that the horizontal scroll wheel, the gesture actions, and the insane battery life sure do. If you are considering it just for the action ring though, I mean, you may get basic benefits from it, but I think on the whole, it's just a gimmick. Oh, and let's not forget triple device Bluetooth connectivity. If you use a desktop and a laptop and you just want one mouse, it's a no-brainer. However, if you do play games, I would instead recommend the G502X Plus as a good middle ground to get the best of both worlds. Look, I'm going to do a full in-depth comparison between both mice with gaming and productivity, so I'll save a lot of the in-depth reasons why for that video. But basically, the MX Master 4 wasn't designed with gaming in mind. Between the weight, button size and placement, and that arch design that I actually love so much, I actually find that it is restricting while you're trying to take quick actions while gaming. You might be okay if all you play is WoW for example, but not for anything else in my opinion. I originally bought this mouse because I wanted to use it with a new MacBook desk setup that I was planning to build, but that project has since been put on hold for logistical reasons. So the MX Master 4 kind of just stayed as my main mouse ever since I did the first video on it 3 months ago, and I'm honestly going to just continue dailying it because it's very useful for my workflow. And when it comes to gaming, I am fortunate enough that I do have my G502X Plus or the Superlight 2 that I can use as needed. Anyways guys, that's it for this one. If you do have any questions about the MX Master 4 or about anything that I've covered, or if there's anything specific that you want to see in the upcoming G502X Plus video, drop them all in the comments below and I'll do my best to help answer or cover it all. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like to let me know and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming long-term review content like this. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next week.